we've got a new bridge here that I'm really excited about, and so today I'm going to introduce all the horses to it. I'm just going to go through with each horse and we'll just see what we get with them. Some of them have been over bridges before and some have not, to my knowledge, and so we're just going to go through, like I said, and we'll just see what we get. Some of them may be really easy, others may struggle with it, and if we get one or a couple that have some trouble with it, then you can see how I handle that. It's going to be very similar to the same approach that we used with the tarp and the plastic bag and all that kind of stuff. It's just about building confidence, okay? It's not about getting just from point A to point B. So we're working on building their confidence. So if they come across a new obstacle, not just so they're used to this bridge, but when they come across a new obstacle, there's a pattern that when I start to do that pattern, they find comfort in it, because horses are really creatures of habit and they find a lot of comfort in patterns. And so the purpose of just throwing a bunch of different obstacles at them is building their confidence and getting them used to the pattern so that they can find comfort in it when there's something new. Okay, so I'm going to start with Mary, and I'm just going to send him around and just see what we got. I'm not going to exactly lunge him over it, but I'm not going to exactly lead him over it either. It's a little bit of an in-between. Walk. I'm just going to kind of walk him up to it. And if he goes over, great. If not, I'll let him look at it. Good boy, good. And I'll see if he'll give me a step. Oh, look at how smart you are. Good boy. Okay, then I'll give him a cookie. Look at how brave. Good job. Okay, now I'll have him go around the other way. And I'll let him circle around once so he gets in a good position. I'm really having a great time with him and his brother because they're just so easy like this. Everything I throw at them, they're so easy. Good boy. Good. Now let me see, just out of curiosity, if he'll put all 4 feet on it and stop. I'm just going to encourage him forward a little bit. Ooh. Good boy. You are so smart. Good job. Now you can come down. Good job. Okay, if he was hesitant at all, I'd keep working with it, but because he was acting like he'd done this 100 times, I'm gonna let him be done because there's no reason drilling a horse and making them bored if they're already really good at something. Okay, you want them to always be interested in your work, and you don't wanna drill them to the point where they get really annoyed and bored. So I'm gonna move on to the next horse and we'll see what we've got with that one. So now I've got Pippin, and I'm expecting him to have pretty much the same response as his brother did. So I'm just going to send him around once. And like I said with Mary, he's allowed to stop and look at it. Good boy. Good. Good. Good boy. Just encourage him a little bit more. Good. Good boy. And I'll give him a cookie. Good job. Good boy. Okay, now I'll send him around the other way. Far away. There you go. Good boy. And it's generally safer, I've found. Not that sometimes with horses that are a little bit timid about it, you might not, walk over it yourself to kind of show them it's okay. It does work occasionally. But typically, I found that it's much safer to send a horse into a trailer or over an obstacle than to try to lead them into it or over it. Usually when you try to lead a horse that's afraid of something over an obstacle, you'll oftentimes end up getting run over. Good boy. Okay, so now I'm going to see if I can get him to just stand up on it. Good. Ooh, ooh, perfect. Good boy. Good job. Okay, so there's really no use asking too much more of him here. He's obviously very calm about it and doesn't mind going over it and standing on it. And that's the key to get your horse to the point where they're comfortable and calm just standing on it. You know, a lot of horses might go over an obstacle, but they want to just blow through it. They're still afraid of it. Even though they're technically going over it, they're not comfortable with it. And so you want to get your horse to a point, and some horses take a couple of days, but you want to get your horse to a point where they're comfortable really with it, standing on it, being with it, and it doesn't make them nervous or they don't want to just blow through it. So now I have Sam here, and because of where he's at, I'm going to go ahead and just ride him over it, or attempt to ride him over it, and not work with him on the ground first. Because, now you don't want to start out this way with your horse, but eventually you want your horse to be the point where you don't have to work with them on the ground, where they're confident enough in you that you can ask them to go through or under or over things just ridden and not have to do it on the ground first. Especially if you're going to go to any sort of trail trials or that sort of thing, you have to just ride them through. You can't, stop and work with them on the ground. So I don't expect him to have any issues, because I rode him over a bridge before and he looked a little bit and was more than happy to go over it. This one is bigger and taller, but I don't think it's going to be much of an issue for him. So I'm just going to walk him around and bring him straight up to it. But the important thing is, when you're going over or through an obstacle, don't look down at the obstacle, look straight up ahead. It just happens to be in your way. Good boy. He's allowed to look. But I'm trying to get over there. It's not about the bridge. I'm trying to get way up over there and go get something. And we have to take this path. The bridge just happens to be in the way. Move him back a little bit. Good boy. This is quite a tall step up for him. Good. Good boy. Good job. Okay, now I'm going to come back the other way. Good boy. And once again, just like I said before, I'm looking way up over there. I'm not going to look down at the bridge, and the bridge just happens to be in the way. Good boy. Good job. Okay, now I'm going to bring him back up to it, and I'll see if he will stop and stand on it for me. Ooh. Woo! So my cue was a little bit late. He was already on the going down. So that was my fault. I was a little late. So I'm going to try again. Now he's a little unsure. It's all right. It's like, I don't know. Last time you were asking me to go and stop, but I don't know what's going on. So I just keep him facing towards it. He's allowed to look. I just keep him facing towards it. I don't let him leave. Good boy. Good. Good boy. And he can look at it. It's totally fine. Good boy. I just keep him facing up to it. I keep looking up beyond it. Good boy. Good. You can do it. Like I said, this is a little bit tall for him, so I kind of figure stepping up on it would maybe be a little bit uncomfortable for him, but I think he can do it. So if he wants to go around it, I don't really care, but I'm going to keep him facing up to it, so he's not getting out of anything and he's not leaving. Sometimes, depending on the situation, you don't have an opportunity to go around it, and then they're just going to have to stay on the side they're on, but normally I don't really mind too much if they do. Like I said, just as long as they keep the focus on it. Good boy. Good. Okay, ask him forward again. Come on, you can do it, bud. And I want to make sure that I'm not pulling on him when he's facing up to it. But like I said, I do want to keep his nose pointed towards it. Good boy. Good. I'll let him look so he knows he's kind of going in the right direction now. Good boy. It's important that you release to them when they look. I'm going to kind of up the pressure a little bit. Get a little irritated because I'm smacking him. Good boy. And I release when he looks at it. Good boy. Ask him forward. And if it does become an issue, I'm not going to, it's not about your pride. Building confidence in your horse is never going to happen if you're going to be prideful about it. So if it becomes an issue, I'm going to keep on him for a while longer. But if he's not wanting to go over it, then I'll get on the ground and I'll lead him over it. And I'll get back on the saddle and see what we can do. Good boy. I release and go quiet when he looks at it so he knows he's heading in the right direction. And he's getting kind of irritated with the whip, but when he gets irritated enough, he'll go forward a little bit. Good. Good. Good boy. He's thinking about it. No, you don't get a cookie yet. I'm going to keep him facing up to it and he can't leave. Good. So on that note, I'm going to hop off and I'm going to go ahead and lead him over it. And I'd almost be willing to bet you that he's going to just go right over it. Good boy. So I'll give him a cookie right here. Good. See, that was all I wanted. Good. Woo. That's a long drop for him. Okay, now I'm going to bring him up again and see if he'll go on it a little bit better and stop while he's on it. Now I don't want him going into my whip right here, so I'll get after him a little bit. You're allowed to have boundaries. Even when you're building confidence, you don't need to coddle them. You can have boundaries. Good. Good boy. You can do it. Nope, you can't go into my whip though. If I've got my whip out on this side, same thing with like side passing, they can't go into your leg. If they're trying other stuff, I don't care, but they can't go into your leg. Same thing. You can't go into my whip. I'm just going to hold and wait. Good. Good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up the long whip and see if I can drive him over it a little bit. And I'm not going to let him go around it. I'm standing here. So I'm going to move him off. Thank you. Good. Good. And he gets a cookie. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Okay, I'm going to ask him again. Come on, you can do it. Good. When he goes to look, I'll stop using the whip, then I'll ask again. He can't come into me, he has to go over it. Come on, you can do it. Good. Nope, can't come into me. I'm standing here. Like I said, don't be afraid to have boundaries, even when you're building confidence. Good. I'm going to try a little halter pressure again. Good. Ooh, ooh. Good. There, now he stopped on it finally. Good boy. So you just play with it and see what works. Good boy. And usually it's not going to be any one thing. It's going to be a mixture of a bunch of different things. Okay, now I'm going to let him off. Good boy. And I'm going to have him come back going the other way. So don't be afraid to change your technique and then go back to something else. Just because it didn't work at that moment doesn't mean it's not going to work later. So just keep going with a couple of different things, and it'll be a mixture of them that eventually work. Nope, you can't come into me. Nope, can't come into me. So I'm going to use some halter pressure. Good. Good boy. Ooh. Oh, that's all right. I'll just send him around again. Good boy. Good. But I'd like him to be able to stop on it. Good boy. And my whip's here, so he can't go into that. Oh, very close. Good boy. Good. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, a little close, bud. But I'm still going to give him a cookie because he's just getting comfortable coming up on it. And like I said, I don't think he's really too bothered about being on it necessarily, but I think that for his size and age, I think it's a little bit hard for him to go up and down. I'm going to let him come off. Good boy. And then I'm going to get back on him and ask him to go over it with me on him. And I'll probably just ask him like one more time. because I don't want to do too much for him if it make him do too much if it's uncomfortable. Really? No, I said no. Okay, so now I'm back on him. I'm going to ask him to go over it again. Good boy, good. 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 He can look if you want. Good boy. Good, good boy. Yep, he's thinking about it. Good. He's thinking about it. Good. Yep. And that's fine if they want. Good boy. Good. So since he's having a little bit of trouble, I'll give him a treat for it. Good. Good boy. Just because I want to really encourage him, and treats work really well for him. Good boy. Okay, I'm going to ask him again. Good boy. Good. Good boy. I'd like a little bit more of you now, though. Now put your leg up on the bridge. Good boy. Yep, you're doing fine. Good boy. Keep him facing it. Good. Good. Good boy. Good. Okay, now I'm going to actually walk him off a little bit and bring him back to it. Good boy. You got to get up on the bridge though. He's getting kind of irritated because I'm smacking him, but he's going to have to go forward. Good. Keep him pointed towards the bridge. And when I use the whip, I'm not going to be using it until he goes over. I'm going to use it till he goes forward, okay? Good boy. Good. Good. Good boy. That was fine. But now I'd like him to give me a little bit more than that. Good. Good, 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 good boy. Now what I'm actually going to do, I'm not going to have him go the rest of the way over it. I'm going to give him a treat, and I'm going to have him back off. Good. And I'm going to have him walk away and come back. Good boy. So you have to teach them that they're not always being asked to swallow the whole elephant. That you will give them, you know, a chance to kind of take it a little step at a time. Good boy. Good, much better. Good, much better. Now I'll ask him to go the rest of the way over it. Much better. That was a great response that time. Ooh. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a cookie here. Good boy. Good, much, much better response, much more willing. And so this is something that I'm gonna keep working on with him. I really liked that last response though, and so I'm gonna go ahead and let him be done with the bridge for tonight. But I'm obviously going to be working with him over the next couple of days. And like I said though, I think that with him, it definitely has something to do with the distance, because this is a pretty tall bridge. The bridge on trail that went across the creek, he went over fine, but still it's good to build his confidence with stepping up, because he, he has to step up into a trailer or any other number of things like that. You maybe have a Texas 3-step obstacle or, any number of things. And so it's good to build his confidence with that too. All right, now I have Quest here, and I'm not quite sure how he's going to do. Quest tends to be one to surprise you one way or the other. So he has been over 2 other bridges. The first one that he ever went over took me a couple of days, several sessions before he was really starting to actually just go over it and not be, not just blow through it. And then the next one, he within one session was pretty comfortable with it, and I could ride him over it. And so now this bridge is not like any of the other 2 he's been over. It's a lot taller and a lot bigger. So I'm just gonna send him around, and he may be really great or he may take some work. Good boy. I'll let him look. He can't come over on my side. Okay, so I'm just going to send him around again. And I really don't want him coming over onto my side. He's a little fresh too. He's just finally recovered from his injury and hasn't really been out working at all. Good boy! Good! So I really like how he stepped up on it, but I'm not going to allow him to come in and get too close to me. Good boy. See, so he did fine with the bridge, but I'm not going to give him a treat if he's going to be right up in my face. I'm going to ask him again. So he tends to want to throw that shoulder in at me, so I'm going to use the butt end of my whip and push him off. See how he wants to push into me? So I'm going to use the butt end of my whip. I'm going to move him off me a little bit, because that's where it gets really dangerous. Any of the other stuff, the horses do it, you just can work with them, but that's where it gets dangerous. I don't want him pushing into me. And he's very fresh, like I said. He has not been worked at all. We're just starting to get him kind of lunging around again. Because normally he has much better manners than this, but it's a good example for you anyway, to show you how some horses may act. I'm not going to let him run away from me. I'm going to keep pulling him around. And he just has to put one foot up on it is all I'm asking him for. He doesn't even have to go over the bridge tonight. But I just want some progress. Good! Yes, good boy. So I'll give him a treat for that. Even though he didn't really rest to step on it, he did start to kind of put his foot on it. So I'm going to give him a treat for that so he knows he's headed in the right direction. Yes, good. Good boy. Yes, much better. So I think he just had to get his wiggles out. Good boy. Okay, I'm going to ask him up again. Good boy. but he's still wanting to push into me. So I don't want to get too much after him because I don't want him, when he gets up on the bridge, to think he's getting scolded up because of the bridge. But I want to kind of try to hold my space. And you can tell he was much better with it when I was on the bridge. It kind of helped give him some confidence. And with some horses that is the case, but like I said, it's not quite as safe as just sending him over. Good. Good boy. So I'll give him a treat there, it's fine. And he's staying. And I'll ask him again. Good. Good. Much better. And that time he didn't push me, so that time I'll give him a treat. And it's not so much that he's trying to be like mean to me or push me around or anything like that. It's really not. A lot of times people like have such a fit that that horse isn't respecting you and whatever. And it is important that they learn to stay away from, you know, to not push on you, obviously. But in this situation, here's what I want you to think about. Think about if you're trudging through, let's say there's a swamp or something, and the person in front of you is stepping on solid ground. They're not getting sucked down into the swamp. You're going to want to step exactly where that person in front of you is stepping so you don't get sucked down to the swamp. Okay, and so that's what your horse is thinking. Come over here. Thank you. That's what your horse is thinking. If you're up here on this bridge or whatever it is that you're on, they're not so sure that this is all safe. They know the space you're standing on is obviously safe because you're standing on it and you're not getting sucked down into the swamp. And so, yes, don't be afraid to hold your space, you know, push him off of you, get after him a little bit, but don't have a total temper tantrum like I see some people have such a temper tantrum that the horse is not respecting them. And it's not a dominance thing. This is not about him trying to be dominant over me. When he's kind of pushes into me up here on this bridge, it's about him knowing that where I'm standing is okay, so he wants to stand there. Good. So I'm going to ask him to come up over it. Guess I should have lunged this one a little bit first. But like I said, it's good for you guys anyway to be able to see sometimes the horses that have a little more problem with it. Good. Good boy. Nope, just going to keep him facing up to it. I'm not going to let him leave. I'm just going to hold some pressure onto his halter until he takes a step forward up onto it. Nope, still going to hold. I'm going to go ahead and let him look this time. So I'm still holding, but I'm going to use a little bit of driving. We're going to bring the whip behind him. Good. Give him a treat. Good boy. Good. Now I'm just going to have him come up on it one more time, and I'm going to quit him for tonight just because we're running out of daylight. Oh, that was a perfect place to end. Nice job, bud. So that was a good place to end with him, and then I'll come back tomorrow, and especially him and Sam, I'll work with a little bit more. And like with him, no more treats. Good boy. I'm glad he's comfortable standing with his front feet on it though. So with him especially, I'm going to have to probably work him a little bit beforehand so he's not quite so fresh. And then with Sam, I'll have him go over a couple times on the ground before I ask him in the saddle. So now I'm going to work with Quest with the bridge again. And I did have him trot around on the end of the lunge line just a little bit, and he was pretty calm and well behaved, but it's super, super slick and muddy out here. So unfortunately, I really can't work him very much. Last time I was working with him with the bridge, he was really fresh. He hadn't been worked in a while because he was recovering from his injury. So he was totally full of himself. But he was pretty calm when I just had him trot around a little bit. Like I said, the ground's too bad to do anything more than that. So I'm going to try to see how he is with the bridge today and just kind of keep him calm, keep him from doing anything stupid and running around, and just see if I can kind of work with him one step at a time and get him comfortable with it. I'm just going to walk him up to it, and I'll let him stop and sniff and look. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Good. Okay, so he offered me a foot, so I'll give him a treat. Good boy. Good. Let me see if I can get another foot. Good boy. So this is pretty much where we left off last time. And so I'm pleased to see that he remembered and didn't regress at all. Good boy. So what I'm going to do actually now is I'm going to back him off instead of asking him for much more. Good boy. I'm going to walk him away. Cough. Thank you. I'm going to walk him away and come back and ask again. And that's the key, is a lot of people try to get the horse to kind of swallow the whole thing at once. And you got to give him a chance to take it one step at a time. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Okay, now I'm going to ask him to come the rest of the way. Oh, what a good boy! Now you can see he's kind of moving around and uncomfortable, but he is staying with me. So give him another carrot. What a good boy! That's when you know that your horse is really starting to trust you, because you could tell he really didn't like it. How he was kind of fidgeting around and not wanting to stand still. But then he stayed here with me and found that it's not going to bother him any. Good boy. Good. And really today, for us, the bridge is far more stable ground than the ground is. What a good job! So now I'm just going to really ask him to go like one more time, one more good time over it like that. And then I'll let him be done so he can think about it. And after this, he'll probably be fine. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Well done. Good job. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Okay, so I'm going to let him be done with that, and then I'm going to go get Sam, and we'll see if he's any better today. So now I'm going to work with Sam a little bit more with the bridge. I'm going to start with him on the ground, and what I'd like to do with him first, last time he was really kind of balking at the whip, and he may not have been trained with a dressage whip before, and so that's something that's really normal when you introduce a whip to a horse, a riding whip, a crop, or a dressage whip. They usually won't just know to go off of it. It'll usually really kind of irritate them and make them mad or scared, and he was getting a little pissy with me. So I'm going to work with him on the ground, whether it's new to him or a review. I'm going to work with him just kind of moving off of the dressage whip a little bit. And so what I'm going to do, because I want him to know when I tap him with this, he needs to go forward. So I'm just going to start by giving a couple good taps. Good boy. And then I'm going to stop him and give him a pet. And I'm not going to give him a voice cue here. As much as I do lunge with a voice cue, right now it's not about him just moving forward. It's about him moving forward off the whip. So I'm only going to use taps. And then I should also be able to pet him with it. I don't want him to be afraid of it, but I do want him to move off. So I'm going to tap him. Good. And stop and pet him. Good boy. I'm going to turn him around. Good. Ooh, stop him. Ooh. Good boy. And then I'm going to tap him a couple more times. Forward. Good. And as soon as he goes forward, I stop tapping him. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Good boy. Ooh. Now I do want him to stay stopped though if I ask him to stop. Good boy. Good. Okay, I'm going to tap him again. Good. Nice response. Excellent job. Ooh. Good boy. Good. Okay, now I'm going to bring him up to the bridge. I'm going to go ahead and walk him around so he comes straight up to it. Good boy. He's allowed to look. Good. Nicely done. I'll give him a piece of carrot. Good boy. Ooh. Good boy. Good job. Well done. Then I'll ask him to go ahead and jump off. Good boy. Very well done. Okay, now I'm going to bring him up one more time. If he gets one good one, like that was really nice. He wasn't too much in a hurry, but he was paying attention to where he was going, so I can be totally okay with that last one. I don't need him to run, jump up, run over it. Good boy. Good. Let's see if he'll bring his back feet up too for the carrot. Ooh. Good. Perfect job. Good boy. Good job. Then I'll ask him down. Good. And then I'm going to go ahead and jump on, and we'll see how he is ridden. Okay, so I'm going to just walk him up over here. I'm going to get a good straight line to it. And remember, I'm going somewhere up over there and the bridge just happens to be in my way. And I'm going to let him just go straight over it if he wants to. Good. Good job. Now give him a piece of carrot. Good boy. Good job. Okay, now I'll ask him if he'll go over it again. And maybe we'll see this time if he feels like he's willing to, I'll ask him to stop on it, but I'm not going to push him too much. Good. Good. Ooh. Excellent job. What a good boy. Excellent job. Very nicely done. So what I'm going to do is I'm asking him one more time. He's doing a lot better than he did last time. Definitely far more willing. But last time he went over pretty well twice, and then the third time I asked him is when he started balking. So I'm just going to have him go over a third time, and if he does just as well on this third time as he does on the last two, then I'm going to go ahead and quit him. And when he's going down, I make sure to give him his head. I don't want to accidentally jerk him on his way down. And I want him to be able to look and be able to pick his path. Excellent job. Perfect. That was exactly what I wanted. Good boy. That was an awesome, awesome response on his part. So I'm going to let him be done with the bridge. And with him, I think he's probably going to be fine with it. Obviously, as I'm riding him, I'll probably take him over it every so often, or when I'm cooling down or whatever. But I don't think, after today, the second session, I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be an issue for him at all. So I think he's good with it. Quest, I think, is doing really good with it, but I'll probably keep working with him a little bit and get him to the point where I can ride him over it comfortably.